We're going to talk about one simple brain hack that all millionaires use to be successful. I'm Dr. Dan. I'm a neurostrategist in my running getup today. Fired up about the brain. More importantly, I want to give you this simple brain hack that literally every successful person uses that you wouldn't know. It's hard to talk about, but it's so easy to implement. Let's get into it. So here's the best part. This one thing far outweighs your talents, your discipline, or your skills. That's what I love because I'm not the most skilled guy. I'm not the most talented guy. But this one thing will supersede everything else. And one story best displays how this works. In 1945, there was a runner who set the record for 1 mile at 4 minutes and 1 second. Nobody could break the 4-minute mile mark. You've heard the story. I'm not talking about Roger Bannister right now. In 1945, another runner who was one of many that tried to break the 4-minute mark, and he couldn't. In fact, prior to that, there were thousands of people that had tried to break the 4-minute mark. Doctors had said that not only is that mark unachievable and impossible, it's dangerous. To run a mile in less than 4 minutes is dangerous, the experts said. And then May 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister went ahead and broke the 4-minute mile once and for all. But that's not the kicker. Here's the best part. 46 days later, after Roger broke that mark, another person broke that mark. And within 3 years, 16 people had broken the 4-minute mile mark when it was setting untouched for hundreds of years. Even with people, if you look back, people were being chased by bulls. They put people on tracks and they had them being chased by dangerous animals. It was like, we're going to break this mark. And they determined you couldn't. Today, over 1,700 people have broken that mark. Many of them are high school athletes. So you think about this, and here's the conclusion. The biggest limitation we have, the biggest limitation you currently have in your next level of success or business or finance is right here. It's in our self-imposed prison of our mind. And it turns out that that story about Roger Bannister best displays that. He did it. It showed other people they could do it too. And when they broke that mark in their mind, boom, it was broken and broken and broken again. You got to ask yourself this question right now. What ceilings do you have in your life where you need a breakthrough? Because where it starts is in your mind. The most simple brain hack that every person who has gained a level of success in life, whether it be business, finances, family, you name it, it's been because of one major thing, and that is expectation. They expected something to happen. After Roger Bannister broke that record, within 46 days later, someone else broke it. And within 3 years, 16 people broke it. They didn't get greater training, greater methods, faster shoes. It was here. And so what's cool about that is we have control over that. And so it turns out the greatest thing is our expectation. Throw off all the disbelief and the lack of expectation, and we walk in that favor. You walk in that ability to walk in knowing what can be done, knowing what's possible. And then I want to give you tips on how to better create expectations that will serve you and lead to your next level of success. But here's the deal. Expectation leads to belief. Your belief leads to your action. Action leads to your results. This is why it starts with expectation. When you expect things to happen, you have a different level of belief that leads to a different action. So it's not that you just expect it and it happens. Your expectation led to your action, which led to your results. So this is how this law works. And it turns out the brain works that way as well. When you look at the brain and its wiring and you study it, the brain is wired to change. Neuroplasticity. You can change it. So when you increase your expectations, the brain actually has different synapses that begin to form and work on your behalf, work in your favor. So the question that you need to ask is, how do I change my expectation to change my synapses in order to change my action and thus my results? And to that I say, excellent question. I had a mentor of mine that once told me, he said, Dan, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That may be your finances, that may be your business, your marriage, other relationships. It may be your health. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I want to teach you 2 key aspects right now to change your expectation, which will change your brain, which will change your results. When I started my first business, I did have some expectation. Listen, I wasn't a great business person. I didn't understand business. I didn't understand entrepreneurship. I was introverted, so I wasn't great at communication or sales or any of that. But When I think back, I had expectation around two things. I knew people needed what I had, and I knew I had it. I knew I could deliver it. That required me a path. I needed a strategy, and I needed coaching. And so I went and got that, and in a short period of time, 4.5 years, I 10x'd the standard in my industry. So I grew a business that was 10 times the standard in finances and in volume. And the reason I had that is because I had one aspect of expectation down. I had expectation around people needing what I have and that I can deliver it. So in other words, my expectation actually led to my results because it led to my action steps. When I look back and people ask me, what was your biggest surprise about business? Beyond a shadow of a doubt, mine is I didn't realize the amount of rejection that it was gonna take. I didn't know how much I would feel rejected or get rejected because I just thought everybody would want what I had. And so it was my expectation that I knew they needed it and I knew I had it that helped me drive through those challenges or roadblocks or rejection. And some of you are there. You're like, you got a little bit of rejection. You think, well, that means that I'm not cut out for this, or it discounts my ability to do this right, or I can't do it. Versus you walk in expectation. People need it, you have it. Hey, rejection is part of the gig. And so when you have that expectation, that's why it leads to your results, because you can push through the challenges because you have expectation around why they need it, that you have it, and you're gonna make it happen. So here are your two key takeaways that's gonna immediately increase your expectation. Number one, you've gotta get clear on what it is that you do and why people need it. Because if you can solve problems for people, the sky's the limit. You will get customers and they will pay you if you have something they need that solves a problem that they have. And the second thing is you gotta get around people doing what you wanna be doing. This is hands down the most powerful, incredible way to change your brain to have higher expectations. Why? Because when you get around people that are doing what you want to do, or achieving what you want to achieve, or having the impact that you want to have, you quickly realize they're no different than you. This is so powerful for the brain because it allows you to turn on receptors and utilize different parts of the brain that create an identity of worthiness. That you are worthy of having the results, achieving the results, making the impact, just like somebody else. And so when you get around people, it fast tracks your ability to rewire the brain. This happens every single time. This is one key strategy I teach all my clients. I say, you have to get around people doing what you want to do. When you do that, it allows your brain in a very quick order to say, I can do that. If I can see it, I can do it. If I can see the person doing it and hear from them, I can emulate that. This is so powerful. So number one, you get clear on the problem you solve. Number two is you get around people that are doing what you want to do. So back to the running game, if you wanted to run a marathon under 4 hours, you better get around people that are running sub 4-hour marathons. If you want to bench press 200 pounds, you better get around people and coaches that can bench press over 200 pounds. If you want to create income of $1,000 a day plus, you better get around people that are creating income of $1,000 a day plus. If you want to be a millionaire, you better start to get around millionaires. Because I think, or I know, you'll be surprised that they're no different than you are. And what that does to the brain is something that nothing else can do. Your brain is the driving factor, and it can change, and it changes with your level of expectation. If we were able to dissect the brains of these runners that hit this mark after Roger hit it, we would see they immediately increased that expectation. Well, you can too. And when you nail this, the game changes. That's it. Dr. Dan signing off. Leave me a comment below or emoji of your muscles. See you on the next one.